Hey everyone, it's Rachel. In this tutorial, I want to show you how to create a mystical moonlit subject using the color therapy app. If you'd like to follow along, find this image by searching for close-up face. To create this mystical look, you'll need to shade and highlight the subject as you normally would, but using cool tones. Okay, let's start off by tapping in the background with black. Over in the colorful metallic palette, let's start off by using the third color on the top row, and I'm going to be using the hair tool. So I'm setting the size at 50 and opacity at 30. Now using that blue and coloring inside the lines mode set to off, I'm adding in some streaks going just kind of angled towards the top of the image in streaks. And this is going to be some really fun like northern lights. Now let's use the thin fur tool. So I'm setting the size at 70 and opacity at 40. And then in the hologram palette, I'm kind of using a bunch of those colors and just drawing in some more streaks and just kind of overlapping a few, just going straight up and down. Might add in some pink. And then using the smear tool, I'm using size 85, opacity 100, and just blending the lights. Also want to use a bright blue from the neon palette. I'm just going to do a size 75 and opacity at 50 and just adding it in a little bit here and there just to make it really bright and fun. And then you can blend those again with the smear tool. Okay, now let's focus on the face. Now over in the colorful metallic palette, let's use the second color on the bottom row and just tap to fill in the face as well as the hair. Now using the fourth color on the top row, let's select the airbrush tool, size at 70 and opacity at 65. With coloring inside the lines mode set to on, you can shade the face and the neck, under the jaw, just shading really broadly. And if you don't want to do the crown, you can turn coloring inside the lines mode off. So shading around the forehead, neck, around the edge of the face. And then I'm going to switch over to black and just do the same thing with black and just focusing more on those edges, just really building up shadows. And then for our smaller details, let's lower the size down to 30. And I'm just going to be shading around the eyes, turning coloring inside the lines mode on or off as desired. Around the nose, under the lips, and around the chin, just on the edge of the face. I'm doing the top lids and the lower lid as well. I'm also going to do the same thing with black. Basically going over the same areas. Now let's use this dark blue in the colorful metallic palette. It's the third color on the top row. Let's lower the size down to 1 and opacity at 50. Now we're really just gonna work on our details. So I'm going around the nose, eyelids, etc. I'm also gonna use black, so I'm just basically tracing around corners of the eyes, up and around, and the eyelids. Filling in pupils, just basically adding in all of the details that you want. You can check out my other tutorials to see how I do more detailed faces. Now, let's set the size to 10 and opacity at 45. And then in the colorful metallic palette, I'm using the third color on the top row. Just adding more highlights and just shading around the eyes. Adding in more shadow, shading around the eyes, as well as shading around the nose and lips. I also like to be using some of the colors from the Sweets palette. So, such as the lips, just adding in some nice pink, maybe just like a little along the nose. I like to use the thin fur tool for the eyebrows, so I set it at size 15 and opacity at 70. Just doing quick short strokes with coloring inside the lines mode set to off, lowering it as needed for the ends of the eyebrows too. And with those same settings, you can add a little bit of white to the very tip of the nose, bring it up to the bridge of the nose a little bit, and maybe add some to the bottom lip softly. I like to add a little bit of black, just shading the eyes right underneath the top lid and the whites of the eyes. And then to make the face look like it's kind of glimmering in the light, select white and then go to the pen tool. Size 1 and opacity at 65. And I like to add in little like lines and dots around the eyes. Also just like little parts by the nose and then on the lips, make them look kind of glossy. Now for the hair, use the hair tool. We'll do the size and opacity at 55. Again, from the Sweets palette, you can use those purples and blues. Just brush the hair in. If you want to keep the stars in the hair, then just turn coloring inside the lines mode to on and turn it off if you don't want to have some of the elements. So just follow the motion of the hair, bring it all in. You can also add in a little bit of pink or even a darker purple. So let's draw in some stray hairs manually. So size 1 with the pen tool and opacity at 70. I'm using this like bright purple from the Sweets palette on the top row. I'm just kind of drawing in my little stray hairs. Just making them nice and wispy and soft. You can make them kind of curve around. Now you can also add a moon. So you could be done, or you can also add in a moon behind her. So I'm tapping in the circle behind her white. And then with the spray tool, I'm setting the size at 55 and opacity at 40. And then I'm using black with coloring inside the lines mode set to on and just adding like this shadow around the edges of the moon. Now, then with the spray tool, raise the opacity to 80 and turn coloring inside the lines mode off. With white, just add in some clouds and some fog just going across the moon, etc. The last thing you want to do is this fairy dust tool. So I'm setting the size at 30 and opacity at 100. Using white, I'm just going to add it into a few areas. So lots of glitter. I'm kind of adding into her hair too. You can also draw a little moon just up in the corner if you don't want to draw a huge one behind her. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.